Hello, welcome to this midweek live stream here on the channel, focusing on guitar and improvisation on the guitar. I've released a few things earlier this week, and just yesterday I talked about easy basics of music theory, talking about small steps, small intervals, understanding intervals, and how to put those together to create major scales, which are really, in large part, kind of the basis of most of the music that you'll come across on all genres. So, and those are kind of the building blocks of how key signatures are constructed and all that. So, join me today and ask me some questions about that if you like. And but I'll kind of continue on and talk a little bit about that. Maybe give some ideas. Hello, how's it going? Welcome. Thanks for joining. I'll mention too that I'm streaming on desktop as well as mobile. So I'll be checking two chats as we go. So I'll do a little playing, noodling while folks come in. And so I welcome your comments and questions. So some of the benefits of understanding key signatures, and a lot of folks probably already do, or may not, but um, to work through a tune and improvise, it's really incredibly important to understand how the chords are moving and functioning, how things are consistently changing through any chord progression, whether it's 1, 4, 5, and 6, um, or any combination of notes. So the consonances and dissonances that you'll play in a melody will be affected by what the harmony is doing, right? Where things are going. So that's one thing that I'd like for folks to understand from the video that I did yesterday on the uh, easy music theory basics, is to understand kind of the purpose, in a sense, of knowing arpeggios, and knowing the purpose of knowing the scales and how to bring those two together, rather than having them sort of exclusive, like, okay, now I'm playing arpeggios, okay, now I'm going to play a scale. I would recommend not really thinking about it in that sense necessarily, but the arpeggios will help you to play consonant tones as long as they're in agreement with the chord. But they can also help you get outside and stuff, but that may be a little more advanced. But it will help you, in a sense, to really master playing, the inside. But you want to fill in the gaps and maybe make your lines more colorful. So you want to have some dissonance and some degrees of that in your playing. All right, we've got a comment here. How important is it to master arpeggios? Do you use it a lot in your playing? Yeah, so that's kind of just what um, I'm mentioning. I would say, yeah, absolutely, master arpeggios. I would say it's very important, and that is just so that you know where the consonants are of a tune, right? So earlier I was playing there on Green Dolphin Street, and so especially when you're playing and there's no backing track, you want the listener to hear those changes, right? So so you're going to touch on the chord tones of the tune and suggest what the progression is through your melody, and it's kind of an awareness thing of know where the tones of the arpeggio lie on the instrument, right? So I'm going to double check a little bit that everything is good here. Looks like everything's up and running okay. So I had originally intended to uh, stream on a few other platforms, but I changed some settings and it doesn't seem to be working. But I don't know. We'll see what happens next time. I'll work on it. All right. You can support the channel by purchasing a mug. I have a new design, so that's kind of my old design, but I have a new design on the podcast. So it's kind of the same logo as the podcast, which I hope folks are trying out to check out. So yesterday I talked a little bit about all of me and working at looking at the chord changes there. Today I thought I'd change it up because I've been talking a little bit about all of me for a good while. So I'm thinking a little more about on Green Dolphin Street. Zero asks, what are you gonna play? So I'm playing around, do a little improv on Green Dolphin Street. So earlier there I played it in the key of F sharp. And so I thought I'd go through some of the keys that I talked a little bit about in the video I released on the basics of music theory. And I thought I'd go through and play some of the changes in the four keys that I talked about. I didn't want to make it a super long video, but so I'm going to play on Green Dolphin Street in another one of those keys. Right, so getting back to the question about how important is it to master the arpeggios. Another perspective we might take on learning improvisation is to think about tools that you might have. So you have, let's say, in a sense, a toolbox of things that you can draw from. And so you take time to practice that in your sessions. So you can have elements like arpeggios. Be able to play arpeggios on the changes. And then you might think, oh, well, maybe I want to do something maybe a little bit different. Maybe have something called like a melodic structure that you kind of have, which will give you a variety more of maybe a variety of intervals to draw upon. Because if you notice, you play arpeggios, if you play the next consecutive note each time, you're going to have a lot of the same types of intervals, right? So thirds, okay, and then a half step or a whole step depending on what you're playing. So if you can mix it up and jump around, or perhaps add a 9 in like I did there earlier. Right. Then you have some more little things to draw on, but knowing different types of scales, like I think I've talked about a bit on the channel, which is to know different numbers of notes, like triads, 3 tones, arpeggios on seventh type chords, 4 notes, and pentatonics. Pentatonics are very practical, and they our ear is really used to hearing that and accustomed to that. So that is a whole element that you can dive deep into any one of these topics, or these note collections, right? So 6 notes, 7 notes, and 8 notes. So as far as notes go, try to think in terms of those different collections of tones, and goal being to improvise, freely. All right, thanks for your request. Appreciate it. I know some tunes like Wonderwall and all those, but not playing those today. So focusing on this channel on improvisation, playing improv, playing lines and phrases that you kind of come up with on the spot, right? We're asking about triads, spread triads. Neon by John Mayer. Sorry, I can't play that one, but I'm not familiar enough with that tune. So yeah, triads. If you can, there's a really cool tune that I did a ways back on the channel, which I think might be really helpful for you to check out. It's a Matheny tune. What was the name of it? But it had these really kind of cool kind of spread triads. What's the name of that tune? been so long since I've played it. I dare not play. But um, I would say, yeah, very, very important. I mean, there are things that you can do. I'll get back to your question there, Neil. Thanks for dropping in. Um, when it comes to playing, kind of traditional sort of guitar, those sort of spread triads are really, become really essential and important, right? So I would say, yeah, they are very useful. And if you play them as arpeggios, then you can really open up, your interval choices, right? And so, yeah, I would find it very useful. So all about kind of color and the tools in the toolbox there. Neil says, "How do you get that tone?" Well, I have a delay pedal on. I have a reverb pedal on. Maybe I'll give you an idea how it sounds without that. I'll mute my microphone. So another thing I mentioned, I'm using this Strymon Iridium to get a sort of an amp tone. So those are called amp simulations and impulse responses. So that's basically the signal chain. Pretty simple. But then, of course, there's recording gear and stuff that passes through. So yeah, spread triads. Great question. But check out I wish I could remember that that Athene tune that I did. It's off the very first album. Let me see if I see it on the album. Bright Size Life album. But that's a really great one to have some really cool and interesting Midwestern Nights Dream. So check out my video on Midwestern Nights Dream. I'll have to review that myself because I don't even know that I remember that one all that well. So is it a kind of lessons broadcast? Well, this is like my live stream. Not really doing lessons necessarily on this day, but just kind of covering some topics and giving folks who may watch the videos that I release an opportunity to maybe ask questions about those or just kind of what's on your mind. I do have some lessons available for some group question and answer and a workshop and also doing private lessons. So check that out. Check information out in the description below. But folks really do improve really quick with lessons and all that more, support and the feedback and the being able to really ask a question that can be cleared up just like that. And otherwise, you'd be spending a lot of time on the internet trying to find those little gems. But Um, let's talk a little bit about the video on music theory. So we have whole steps, right? We have half steps. Right, and so those are the building blocks of how all this kind of system is connected. So I mentioned the whole, half, whole, half. Now you can start at any point inside of that and even view that as a circle, like cyclical kind of thing. And that can help you find tones as well. And you're gonna do half steps. Right? You might even try that, tracing one finger and moving along and connecting whole steps and half steps, and especially doing it on one string. Otherwise, being aware of what the intervals are as you cross over strings, which can be a little bit confusing on the guitar because it's not a uniform tuning, at least if you use standard tuning. So, or the Spanish tuning. Right, because your interval from let's say D to E over here is going to be in a different distance than D to E over here, right? So that's another angle that you can use to move through and kind of work at kind of decoding the neck and everything. So. Well, I'm going to do a little more playing. Let me know if you have any additional questions or comments. So this is something that I would really recommend for folks to do, which is to take a tune that you play and play it in several different keys. So I'm kind of going through surveying the different keys from the talk I gave yesterday. So let's take some questions here. So we have Gary. Apologize if I pronounce your name incorrectly. How do you teach a senior citizen whose fingertips are too thick to move in the higher register of the neck? Okay, so one thing I would kind of say is, well, you could be at I'll say I've had a lot of folks, regardless of age, who have had trouble with thickness of the fingers. You get into an issue with touching strings that are, not ones you're intending to hit, but you're talking about going further up the neck. So in a sense, I would say, well, make sure your technique is where it needs to be, because it could be, that there are some technical things that you're doing that's making it difficult for you. It's hard to say. But you know, you can also gradually try to increase your range over time. And then when you're playing, work within your current limitations by maybe just playing in the lower register of the instrument. Maybe take some of the things down an octave or something like that. I have had some senior citizen or senior, should I say, senior students who had trouble with arthritis. So I'm not sure if that's kind of a thing as well or not. Um, but but yeah, definitely some challenges in that respect where sometimes the joint at the very end won't really move any longer. So yeah, that's definitely kind of an issue. But we have to keep in mind some of the heroes that we've uh, had in our tradition here of improvisation on the guitar have had some really serious limitations and setbacks. Django Reinhardt, for example, right? So kind of do what you can with what you've got at any given moment. Um, so we have another question. Learning to play off a recording is challenging. George Benson, what is your approach? So I would recommend taking very small amounts of material. So listen to a phrase, uh, listen to a single note, and see if you can play, just a few notes, just a small sequence of tones. So hit play, hit pause, quick, and see if you can find those. But there are a lot of um, software and things that make that easier, right? So we have um, oh, Chronotron is something that I've been using with students to kind of slow down material, but keep it in the same key. So you might try that, taking small, manageable amounts, pausing often, and seeing what you can do from there. Magic Mirror, thank you for joining in. I'm talking about guitar and improvisation, and just kind of taking your questions and your comments and seeing if I can give my perspective on it. How do you set up your practice routine? 2 to 4 hours at a time? That's the question. Yeah, absolutely not. I would not recommend doing that. I would set a time limit at a maximum of 45 minutes in a session. Anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes is what I would recommend. Practice intensely, and give yourself frequent breaks. That's what I would recommend when it comes to practice. When it comes to playing, yeah, you can play for 2 hours, 4 hours. Absolutely. So a lot of gigs are 3 hours, but even then, usually you take 45 minutes and then you take a break there as well. Um, so yeah, don't practice too long because there's only so much focus that's available to, I think, almost any human being. So to kind of indefinitely have really intense extreme focus is just really hard. Let's see, me and do. Okay, both move tone, tone, semitone. Yeah, well, thank you for that. Yeah, so if you're using solfege, Okay, right? You have do and you have mi, right? So they sit, there's halfway in between, there's a whole step. I'm going to play this mi over here, actually. So, right, so you have string 5, fret 3, string 5, fret 7, and there's, yes, a whole step in between. And that brings up a good point, is that these are all building blocks. You can, go down to, the smaller amount. All right. So if you have half steps, see if you can fill in the half steps, right? To build from. So I hope that's helpful. All right. Everybody, well, I'm going to do maybe a little more noodling around. Kind of my theme here is playing tunes in different different keys, based on what I talked about and the basic music theory, easy music theory basics. Check that out. Please check that out. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe. If you get value from all this, please help out the channel any way that you can. Much appreciated. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We have a member area here. We have kind of exclusive updates, which I kind of give some behind the scenes takes on things, and we have a lessons and talks tier. Music lessons, private music lessons, and classes. Check out the description below. Okay. Yuri asks, would you play a simple song and then improvise over what you play to demonstrate how to approach you and how fast you should play? So, yeah, I mean, how fast you should play is, kind of up to what you hear. You want to try. I mean, I would say you want to play with some intent, right? To play phrases and have an intention, right, in what you're after. So if you feel like you lose sight of the moment, just try to keep bringing it back to the moment, and play within whatever limits you have, physical or what you hear, right? So try not to play things that are fast just for the sake of playing fast. I would say that once you're get to a certain technical level, you may even play fast passages, and you may not consider it as being fast or anything like that. So that's kind of my my take on it. So I'm gonna play just a tiny bit more, improvise on the changes for on Green Dolphin Street. So far I played in F sharp, played in A, played in C, and now I'm gonna play in E flat. So just to give you kind of an idea of what you might work at as far as playing and practicing tunes using what I talked about in the video on music theory basics. everybody. Well, thanks so much for checking out this live stream. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. I highly recommend checking out some of our question and answer sessions. It's a pretty easy sign up down from the description below. You can visit also the fretprints.com to learn more and keep up with some things that we've been doing. And yeah, slowly growing here over time, hoping to bring folks some real practical things to work with as far as playing and improvising technique and all that. So you're welcome. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear you're gaining more understanding on the guitar. How do you figure out the key of a song on the spot? Well, you want to when you listen to it, you want to think about what tone sounds like it's resolved, right? So what there's gonna be a tone that even if the tone is not present at a given moment, it will be sort of suggested, and that's the tonic, right? So listen to the tune as a whole, and then yeah, you'll kind of figure that out. So there's look for the 5 and the 1 relationships, the tonic and the dominant. Help with memorizing the fretboard. Learn the notes in C. Learn the C notes. There are a lot of approaches to doing this. You can learn notes on a single string, do it one at a time, and memorize them. You're going to mostly memorize them by using them. So get with some sight reading material. If you play even a really simple 3 notes or something like that, if you play, see if you can play that in a bunch of different positions and know the neck. Move them up and down an octave and everything. All right. Do I play acoustic guitar? Yeah, check out my channel. I play acoustic, and a good example of that would be Travels. Played electric acoustic on one recording, and then I did some slow playthroughs with that guitar there. Done some Brazilian type things and classical-ish type things on this channel, but also other. I don't know if I've done classical on this channel. It's possible, but yeah, some things on that one. So I do that. Check out the channel. Take a look around. Shape of you. All right. Well, I'm just about to head off. So thanks so much for joining. Yeah, just keep in mind that this live stream is mainly about improvisation. And so probably not going to be playing a lot of requests or tunes. So mainly talking about improvise, some approaches to improvisation. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for checking this out. And I will see you all in the next one. Have a great practice session.